Hey everyone! So today I was wanting to take a few moments to swing on in here and let you know about a technique that I like to teach in my yoga classes for expecting parents to prepare their pelvic floor for birth. So today is going to be all about learning how to down train your pelvic floor, why it might be important, and how to do it. So first of all, let's start off with acknowledging that there are a lot of us who are walking around with a hyper-responsive pelvic floor, so a overreacting pelvic floor. So often when we start to feel the incontinence or any sort of heaviness in the pelvic floor, especially when we're pregnant, we automatically jump to the conclusion that, oh, I must have a weak pelvic floor, I have to strengthen it, when in fact the opposite could be the truth. And if that's the case, then doing your Kegels could make things worse. So it's always a good idea to have somebody check it out who's an expert. So a pelvic floor physiotherapist, I talk about those often, would be a perfect choice to go check it out if you're unsure. But a few things to look out for. So if you do have a hyper-responsive or an overreactive pelvic floor, you might experience things like pelvic pain, bladder and bowel issues, lower back and hip pain, and pain or discomfort during sex. So there's a few other symptoms as well, but those would be the main ones to watch out for. And one thing you can do to help with this, if this is something you're experiencing, is down train the pelvic floor. So concentrate on relaxing your pelvic floor. And even if you don't know, even if you're unsure, it's nice to practice this exercise so that you can strengthen that mind-body connection to this area to prepare for birth, because you don't want to be trying to birth your baby into this world through a brick wall. So how do we down train our pelvic floor? Great question. First of all, you got to know where it is. So your pelvic floor exists between the pubic bone and the tailbone, and between the two sit bones. So it spans between that area. And once you have an idea of where it exists, you can pay a little bit closer attention to your breathing. So when you inhale, you can imagine as though your pelvic floor is relaxing and descending. And then as you exhale, you can imagine the pelvic floor is slightly contracting and rising up. So with each inhale, imagine that pelvic floor relaxing and softening without bearing down, without pushing, just allowing it to happen without any big movements necessary. And then same thing with your exhale. Exhale, your diaphragm's pushing the air out of your lungs, your pelvic floor is assisting by rising up and slightly contracting on its own. So that's kind of the trend or the pattern you want to notice in the body with the breath. And then before you go ahead and take this to the next step, it's a good idea to empty your bladder because the best way to as an example, experience this physically in the body is to go to the bathroom. So what happens right before you go to the bathroom and empty your bladder? Your pelvic floor releases and relaxes. So first of all, you'll have a nice, empty bladder to start with, and you'll have that current example of what it feels like to release through the pelvic floor. And then you'll probably want to lay down. That's going to be the nicest way to take the pressure off the pelvic floor so that you can do this exercise more fully. So laying on your side if you're pregnant is a really nice idea. Right before bed, this is a perfect time to do this, waiting for sleep to come. And then as you are ready, the bladder is empty, you have that mind-body connection to the pelvic floor with your breathing, you can start to, again, bring that attention to your inhales, your pelvic floor starts to release and relax as though you're letting go to go to the bathroom. And then as you exhale, it can naturally start to contract and rise up. So you can do that for the first couple breaths here, allowing the relaxation to happen on the inhale and the the natural contraction to happen on the exhale. And then you can take it a step further by maybe even allowing the relaxation to continue while you are exhaling. So, and you can practice this for 10 or 15 minutes, especially important in the last, late second to third trimester. So if you haven't started this practice earlier in pregnancy, then definitely start doing it a little bit later, just to prepare to reinforce that mind-body connection and to be able to relax and release and let go. So I hope this was helpful. I will chat with you all soon.